Welcome to my Idaho cabin, where the elk and deer run free. Welcome to my Idaho cabin, hope you spend a little time with me.
Hi everybody, this is Rick. Welcome to my Idaho cabin. Tonight I'm thinking about doing something a little bit different. It's a Sunday afternoon and I have some friends coming over for dinner, so I thought I'd make some jambalaya. So that's what I'm doing. So here we go. Here are some of the ingredients that are going into the jambalaya. This is a pretty easy dish to do, but like camarones rancheros also, it's one of those dishes where it's a real good idea to prep everything ahead of time because it goes together fast. Anyway, here we have some shredded chicken, some tomatoes, garlic, diced celery, diced onion, andouille sausage, and 4 or 5 strips of diced bacon. Oh, and some chicken broth. That's my homemade chicken broth. So we're going to use that in the dish tonight too. Okay, I have my Dutch oven heating up, and the first thing I'm going to do is put the bacon in, the diced bacon, and we're going to render the fat out of that. So we'll let that cook just a little bit, and then we'll get when it gets the fat rendered out, then we'll take the bacon out and leave the bacon grease in the Dutch oven. Okay, that bacon looks pretty good right now. So I'll get that out of there and put it on some paper towel to drain. Now, normally at this time I would cook the chicken, but I'm using already cooked chicken, so we're going to skip that step for this time. So the next thing that's going to go in here is the andouille sausage. Now, I've taken the andouille and I've cut them in half and then cut them into 1/4 inch slices. So now these will go in here over medium heat for about 3 to 4 or 5 minutes, something like that, and we're going to brown these up a little bit. So I'll bring you back when that's done. Okay, those are looking pretty good. So I'll take these out, let them drain on some paper towel. Okay, now we've got a good layer of andouille grease and bacon fat in there. So now we're going to cook our vegetables. Everything except the garlic. So in go that's the celery, tomatoes, and onion. Now we'll use a good flat-bladed spatula, wooden spatula, and scrape that bottom. Get all that good fond up off the bottom. And we're going to stir these around for a couple, 3 minutes until they start to get soft. And then we'll add our garlic and cook it another 45 seconds or so. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay, these veggies have softened up nicely. I want you to notice how nicely diced they are. That's because I use that Vidalia chop wizard that I keep telling you about. It is a fantastic tool around the kitchen. It'll make everything a lot easier for you. Imagine what it'd take to chop those up just like that with a knife. Okay, in goes some garlic. We'll stir that around for about 45 seconds. You don't want to burn the garlic. and it will burn, and then it'll give you a nasty taste, and that will ruin your dinner. Okay, we'll stir that around a little bit. Okay, now we want to add rice, tomatoes, and I'm using a can and a half because I'm beefing up this recipe a little bit. I'm using a can of regular diced tomatoes, and I'm using a can of Rotel, so that should give it a little spice. And then a little salt. A little thyme. And for a little spice, a little cayenne pepper in there. That ought to do it. Smokey is agreeing with that, as you can tell. Okay, and then for a little bit more spice, a little Frank's hot sauce. About a tablespoon. Maybe a little more. And then again, maybe not. Okay, now we're going to stir that around until the rice gets nicely coated. Okay, now we're going to add the chicken. And now we're going to add the chicken. I think I'm going to throw a little bit more chicken broth in here. Let it seems to be a little tight. Then we'll let it cook for a while, let that chicken warm up, and then the last minute we'll throw the shrimp in and call it good. Okay, I've added the chicken and it's now cooking and it's looking good. So now the only thing we have to do is add the shrimp. So I have 2 pounds of medium shrimp. We're going to throw that in there and stir that around, and this will probably take 5 to 7 minutes. When they turn nice and rosy red, nice and pink, they'll be ready to eat. Yum delish, as my girls would say. Well, there's the jambalaya all made. So we'll get it served up here. Probably enough for a normal person. I don't know about people here in Placerville. Put a little decoration on there and call it good. You know, I don't know what it is sometimes, but maybe it's the planets aligning, the stars aligning, full moon, but sometimes you hit a recipe out of the ballpark. And that's what happened with this one. Everybody just said it was outstanding. I have a friend, Russ Jones, down at Smoky Ribs. He lives down in Louisiana. And I know he makes all sorts of Cajun dishes all the time. And I don't know how this stacks up with the one that he does, but I'll tell you, this one sure made a hit out here. And when I was living in the California Delta for a few years, that has a pretty good Cajun influence down there. And we ate a lot of Creole food, Andouille sausage, jambalaya, gumbo, that sort of thing. And this tasted every bit as good as I remember. And so I would really encourage you guys to give this thing a try. Some of you will probably note that I didn't follow the recipe exactly. I left out some ingredients. I put more in of one thing and that sort of thing. But I've always told everybody that cooking and recipes are just like a road map. You can get from point A to point B a lot of different ways. So use your own judgment and let your own cooking experience tell you how to modify the recipe just a little bit for your own particular family's likings. So anyway, the recipe is down below. Like I told you, it'll be down below as normal. And if you haven't liked the recipe or the video, please check on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate that. So until next time, this is Rick at My Idaho Cabin.
Welcome to my Idaho cabin, where the elk and deer run free. Welcome to my Idaho cabin. Thanks for spending time with me.